I'm here today with Claire Dale, Director for Companies in Motion. Claire is a movement specialist and a leading expert in physical intelligence. She and her team train and coach individuals from board level to entry level to help them achieve their peak performance. Today, Claire is here to address specifically how physical intelligence can enhance our effectiveness both in our professional and personal lives. And I'm very excited to be here with Claire today. Welcome.
Thank you, Steph. It's great to be here.
Claire, we live in a world today that is ever changing. Change is all around us at a personal as well as a professional level. So how can physical intelligence actually help us manage change individually for ourselves, but also for the people we interact with?
Yes. Well, every part of a business hopefully is engaged in change and looking for new opportunities. But with change always comes uncertainty. And uncertainty is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's more about the fear of losing what we once had that I think creates the problems. But if we understand the chemistry of change, the underlying physiology, then we can structure and train to get better at leading through change in terms of our strength, our flexibility, our resilience and our endurance. And this is what we work on through physical intelligence techniques.
So I would assume there is a specific winning cocktail that helps us manage change?
Yes, there is. In change, one of the key things is to realise that cortisol will spike as people fear losing what's been in the past. And so bringing cortisol levels to a level where people can think clearly and feel a bit safer with the future is really important. And then in relation to that, having dopamine going up is really important. Dopamine is the great motivator and makes us want to move towards new things. And there are certain things that we can do to adjust that chemistry. And then we need to boost testosterone, which for men and women is moving into new territory, the confidence to do so. We need to have great oxytocin going on to support and empathise with people and build bridges as we move forward. And then DHEA, dehydroepiandrosterone, is also really crucial. It underpins high performance in change. It's about vitality and endurance. And the good news is that although created synthetically, it's a banned substance on the Olympics, you can't use it, we create it every day if we use a specific paced breathing technique.
Is one of them more important than the other?
Cortisol down, dopamine up is the most important thing. The primary reward systems that make us want to move towards something are very fundamental to human beings. So we have to get that right first.
So in a lot of change efforts, people speak about experiencing resistance to change. And as you said earlier, it's actually not about resistance to change. It's fear of the unknown. It's uncertainty that people have a hard time dealing with. How specifically can PI help with dealing with uncertainty?
I think when change is happening, we may for a while oppose it, or we may for a while feel victim to it. But at the end of the day, when everything is said and done, we do need to be able to embrace change, whatever has gone before. And so the physical intelligence technique that we take people through, it's a process, not easy to do, but it's called very simply the letting go technique. And it involves, firstly, absolutely facing up to the reality of what's happened and what may be in the future. Thoughts are clear, you look at it in absolute 20/20 vision. This builds testosterone, it sort of builds courage, because it can't be any worse than what we're really seeing. And then we need to reach out, tell those stories, share how we and others are feeling, and really use our networks to make us resilient and share stories. And then we need to learn lessons really from what's gone on. So when we reach out, oxytocin is boosted. When we learn lessons and we use a learning mindset, it feels as though we then have more control over a situation. We take adversity and we're prepared to learn lessons from it. So our serotonin boosts, our sense of well-being and agency and deep confidence comes back. And then we need to get our dopamine levels up. And that we do by looking into the future, visualizing it, considering that it could well be a future that has some benefits and some good stuff in it, and really create a compelling picture in our mind's eye that gives us dopamine, that draws us into the future, and we need to step into it, leave the past behind. So that's the process of letting go. It's not easy to do, and sometimes teams and individuals need to visit that again. The key thing is that once you understand what you're doing with your chemistry, it means that we can accelerate the movement through that change process.
So would you have a recommendation for a leader who is asked to lead his team through a complicated change process while he or she has not even had a chance to embrace that same change, him or herself?
I think that's one of the big challenges for leaders actually. They don't have all the answers, who does? And yet being able to bring confidence and tell positive stories within that is so tough. I think that there can also be a sense of unease about that, and even guilt that a leader doesn't have all the answers. It can be uncomfortable. So we need to recognise that those emotional states are both physical and mental, and that cortisol is one of the chemicals that creates that unease and that guilt. So our nervous system is responding to the difficulty of the situation, and there are a whole number of techniques that we can use to bring those cortisol levels down. Beyond that, we do need to reach out and communicate well, help people tell their stories, and be as authentic and as transparent as we can through what may be uncertain outcomes. Testosterone is really important. When cortisol comes up, testosterone very often, well, either it stays up and we become frustrated and anxious, or it starts to drop and we start to lose the belief in the change.
Yeah, so cortisol doesn't really sound like my friend here.
Not your friend.
So how do you have an example of what I can actually do to, when I walk out of this room and I would love to bring my cortisol down?
Yes, you need to open and expand your physical posture to begin with. This brings testosterone up and cortisol down. You need to use effective breathing technique as a habit during the day. So we encourage people to put in at least 10 minutes a day of paced breathing technique as a matter of course. And these are the foundations of building performance. Other than that, we need to be able to notice what's happening in our mind and what the kind of quality of thoughts that we're having, and be able to change those, be able to reframe events. And this idea of a learning mindset, creating the chemistry that we can bounce off and bounce forward.
So clearly change is nothing that happens overnight, but it seems that with some great tools and insights, we are able to embrace it and to be authentic on the way.
We need to give people as much certainty as we can, and we need to have people feel valued and important, and give them as many choices as we can, and be as fair as we can. These are the kind of things that bring dopamine levels back up enough so that people may want the change.
Great. That's all I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Steph.